Hey Harmony House, welcome to Chapter Book Storytime. I hope you're comfy and cozy and ready to listen to more of our story. We are on Chapter 11 today. In yesterday's chapter, the whole crew, the Magic Misfits, Layla, Carter, Theo, Ridley, Ollie, and Izzy all met together at the Grand Oak Resort. And they started talking to Dean the Bellhop, and who's just an older gentleman who works at the hotel. And they learned that the rear wing, the back of the hotel, has been closed for years, and that recently people working at the hotel have been saying that it's haunted with like ghosts or something. And Ridley immediately was like, nonsense, no such thing. But Dean the Bellhop said, well, it has been closed for a very long time. And they said, well, why? Why has it been closed? And he said there was a fire in this back building of the hotel a long time ago. And they never caught who did it, but there was a rumor that the fire was set by the man that works in the magic shop. And we know the man who works in the magic shop. It's Layla's dad, Mr. Dante Vernon. And Dean said, yeah, the rumor is that he set the fire with his group of friends. So Layla immediately is like, what? Like, my dad would never do such a thing. So the mystery is just what happened. Is this rumor true? Did Mr. Dante Vernon accidentally set a fire with his friends when he was a kid? Or is it just that? It's just a rumor and that didn't actually happen. But, it's just making Layla even more concerned because she's already worried about her dad. She feels like he's been keeping secrets. So, I don't know. Let's continue reading and find out. However, they did decide that they want to get Sandra's help, Sandra, the sidekick. They want to get her help to kind of investigate this rear wing of the hotel, investigate these rumors that it's haunted and that there are ghosts. They're like, well, if there are ghosts, Sandra's a psychic, right? So she can talk to them. Well, let's find out. All right, here's chapter 11. Sandra Santos speaking, said the voice through the receiver. Hi, Sandra. It's Layla calling from the lobby downstairs. Layla, what a surprise. I was just thinking about you. Would you like to come up for some tea? I could read your leaves. That's the thing, Layla answered. My friends and I were wondering if you wouldn't mind coming down instead. There's something going on in the rear wing that we need your help with. By the time Layla went outside again, a small crowd of employees and guests had gathered on the back patio. Everyone was whispering to one another, intrigued. Layla leaned into Carter's ear and said, Where'd all these people come from? Carter shrugged. While you were on the phone with Sandra, Dean the Bellhop was telling the other employees that there was going to be a seance, and word spread quickly. I guess he was eavesdropping on us. So they went to go get Sandra's help. And while they were doing that, Dean the Bellhop told everyone that Sandra the psychic is going to come talk to the ghosts. And so now there's like a whole crowd of people that have come to watch. Children, Sandra called from across the patio, holding her arms out as if she might scoop them all up into an enormous hug. Today, Sandra was dressed in a floor-length chartreuse paisley caftan. A green teardrop-shaped gem dangled in the center of her forehead from a gold-colored headband that pinched her hair into a funny mushroom. Thank you for calling me. I always believed this old place was haunted. Sandra indicated the rear wing of the lodge. The seance is going to be so enlightening and fun. Talking to ghosts is fun? Ridley asked. Helping people is fun, Sandra said, looking at the crowd, which was continuing to grow. They were all staring at the glamorous-looking woman in the paisley caftan. It turned out that Ollie was right. Dean the Bellhop was quite the gossip. Sandra pretended not to notice the crowd. I think we can all agree that's a good thing, no? Ridley actually blushed and then nodded. Layla couldn't hold her tongue any longer. She grabbed Sandra by the hand and led her to the side. Sandra, can you tell us about the fire? I heard a rumor that my dad started it with his friends. Was it the emerald ring? Sandra grimaced and shook her head. I know nothing about that, but if there was a fire, I highly doubt Dante would have had anything to do with it. Now, we have a crowd waiting. Let's get started, shall we? Layla's throat swelled with embarrassment. She shouldn't have mentioned it. Not here. Not now. Well, Layla decided to ask Sandra, ask her straight, because Sandra was part of the Emerald Ring. She was friends with Dante when they were kids. So Layla just asked her point blank, hey, did my dad set this fire with you and his friends? And Sandra said no. She said she doesn't know anything about it. So, she apparently was not involved. But she says there's no way Dante would have done such a thing. So that's good, right? But why was that rumor started then? I don't know. Let's keep going. Sandra looked up at the building's facade. Curtains were drawn across most of the windows, and a blackness stared down at them from the windows that were open. Despite the humidity of the afternoon, Layla felt a brisk chill sweep across her skin. Sandra squinted, as if to show that she wasn't afraid, which made Layla feel somewhat better. Sandra grappled with the knob of the back door, but it appeared to be locked. Does anyone have the key? Key, Layla thought. The key. Why is Layla thinking about a key? What key is she thinking about? She's thinking about her special key that was left with her as a baby at the orphanage. The one that Sandra told her was going to become very important in the coming days. Do you think this is what it unlocks? Does it unlock the rear wing of the Grand Oak Resort? Oh my goodness. Let's find out. Key, Layla thought. The pendant under her shirt felt cool against her sternum. Could this be the moment that Sandra had predicted? Was Layla wearing the tool that would somehow open the lodge's back door? But she didn't need a key to do that, she thought. The lucky lockpicks in her pocket would do the job just as easily. Layla wouldn't dare work on this lock in front of a crowd, though. People might start to think she was a burglar. Here. Dean stepped forward, holding up his hand. He rattled a large key ring before opening the door and stepping inside. A dank aroma wafted out. It made Layla think of the closets at Mother Margaret's home. So she didn't use her key. Dean brought a key. That got me excited, though, and got me wondering what this key is for. Anyway. Sandra approached the entry. Clasping the two sides of the doorframe, she stiffened her spine as if something inside was affecting her in a profound way. Oh, yes, there are definitely spirits here. I hear them calling out. Do you? She asked to the gathering people. A general murmur rose up. Layla couldn't tell if they were agreeing or disagreeing. Personally, Layla didn't hear any sounds other than the wind through the trees and a train horn calling out in the distance. Turning to the misfits, Sandra added, Come, I need the assistance of my new friends. Our connection will only help build up the energy needed to connect with the beyond. Layla glanced at the others. Ridley wore a skeptical grimace. Carter looked curious. Theo looked puzzled, as if he needed to see and hear more before making up his mind. Ollie and Izzy both tittered with excitement. Layla felt a mix of all their emotions. Together, the group stepped toward the door. Sandra had them stand in a circle and clasp hands. She told them, I need you to concentrate. Listen and be still. She closed her eyes and began to speak. Dear friends who are lost and wandering, hear me. Send me a sign. The crowd started to whisper and point up at the windows. From the corner of her eye, Layla thought she saw movement behind some of the panes without curtains, but when she looked fully, she realized the windows were empty. Chills tickled her whole body. It is a truth universally acknowledged, Sandra said, that we create a home where we feel the greatest safety, the greatest comfort. And so it follows that the spirits might think of this hotel as their home. I don't blame them. Who among us would like to never leave the Grand Oak? The crowd laughed, and several hands shot up. But in order for this wonderful hotel to continue with business as usual, I must ask these troublesome spirits to consider moving on. At once, some of the windows overlooking the rear patio began to shake and rattle in their frames. A murmur rose among the crowd, and Layla's jaw dropped in awe. Ridley looked up at the building, one eyebrow raised, as if she was trying to figure out Sandra's trick. Layla wanted to believe it was real. If it was a trick, it was a well-planned one. What do you think? Are you more towards Ridley's side and you think this is just a trick? Sandra's just playing a trick? Or are you more like Layla and you think that maybe she's really talking to ghosts? What do you think? Don't be angry, Sandra shouted, throwing back her head as if enthralled to the spirit world. This is for your own good. Find your light in the darkness. The windows rattled even harder. Walk on, step into the glow, into the warmth, find your loved ones there. They will help you create your new home. Several flares flashed behind the darkened windows. The crowd screamed, and Sandra shuddered, flinging herself to the ground in the center of the misfits' circle, landing on her hands and knees. The kids gave her space, as if she too might burst into a bright white light. There was a long moment where Sandra shook as though she were experiencing a personal earthquake. Layla was on the verge of stopping the seance, but Sandra raised her hand, asking her to wait. A moment later, Sandra calmed. She lifted her head. Her face looked slack, exhausted. She stood and brushed herself off, then turned to look up at the abandoned wing. They heeded my plea, she told her audience. Your hotel is now ghost-free. The crowd began to cheer. Theo and the Golden twins clapped vigorously, but not as much as Layla, who clapped the hardest. The applause ended when an angry voice called out from the back of the patio. What is the meaning of all this? Bum, bum. That was the end of our chapter. So, the Misfits had heard this rumor that the back of the hotel was haunted with ghosts. So they're like, Sandra's a psychic, so supposedly she can talk to ghosts. So they call her over. She's like, all right, we're going to do a seance. We're going to ask the ghosts to leave. So they all stand in a circle, and she's talking supposedly to the ghosts. Ridley thinks that this is all just a trick, just a show, just like what Carter does with his magic tricks. It's a show to make people happy, right? So that's what Ridley thinks is happening. She thinks that this was like set up to be like a trick, a show. Layla wants to believe this is real, that Sandra can actually talk to these ghosts. So we don't really know which one it is at this point. But she does this seance, she talks to these ghosts, she asks them to leave, and then at the end she says, all right, they have heeded my plea, and they have left the hotel. The hotel is now ghost-free. Do you think she actually did it? Do you think she got these supposed ghosts to leave? I don't know, but then just as they're finishing up their show, someone says, what is the meaning of this? And we don't know who it is. It just says, an angry voice called from the back patio. So, I don't know. Do you think it's a new character, or do you think it's someone we know already? So many mysteries in this one. I'm excited. Well, we will find out who said, what is the meaning of this, next time when we read chapter 12. All right, I'll see you then. Bye, everybody.